Who are you? And tell me about your platform and kind of what your whole purpose of.
Okay, so you guys might know me as Becky, La Trompista. Here in New Jersey. I was born in New York,
Okay.
raised in Puerto Rico,
Okay.
loving my mainland, of course, the United States, learning a lot of, my American culture and my Puerto Rican culture as well. Then my dad remarried a lady from the Dominican Republic. So I
Okay.
had to go over there and live there too and go to school there, learn their culture, learn their, you know, national anthem and all these things.
Yeah.
So it was nice because it's very similar to Puerto Rican history.
Okay.
And, we were all discovered by Christopher Columbus. So kind of like almost the same stuff.
Whoa, triggered.
Super.
So how long did you live in Puerto Rico? You said you grew up there. What do you mean?
I was raised there.
Okay. So you were raised there. So like, what does that mean? So you grew up there through like school?
Well, I was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And then, sorry. I was born in New York.
Okay.
So when I was 3 years
And then
old,
you went.
my dad retired. So he moved to Puerto Rico because that's his mainland. Like that's where he was born.
Okay.
That's his hometown. So I moved to Puerto Rico at the age of 3. And I just started learning to write and read with my dad, kind of like a homeschooling type of thing.
Yeah.
And because by then, I don't know if you're contemporary with me, but by then the preschool and kindergarten was not like now. It was no structure, no learning structure. It was more like playing with toys,
Okay.
Play-Doh.
Oh.
So he taught me how to write and read. So when I went to school in first grade, I already knew how to write and read. So they put me in second grade.
Okay.
And then when I went to the Dominican Republic, I was 10 years old.
Okay.
And I came back when I was already like 13 years old.
Okay.
So I didn't take no 7th grade. So I'll skip again from 6th grade to 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
So I finished high school at 16.
Okay.
And by then I didn't know no English because in Puerto Rico, they teach you English, but it's like a basic conversation.
Okay.
And like your name is and colors and numbers,
Right.
like all the basic things. And the pronunciation is really bad. Like I'm not bashing my Puerto Ricans, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like the pronunciation is bad. And in DR, they don't teach you English like that. They teach you French.
Oh, right.
I know it's kind of crazy, but that's what they teach you.
Okay.
And so I never was able to grasp the English the way I probably wanted.
Okay.
So when I was 19, that's when I decided to come into the United States again.
Okay.
And I had to learn English. I self-taught my English when I was 19.
Wow.
And I had to learn because I found a job and I started working, and it was a store. It was like a retail store.
Okay.
So I remember the manager saying, if you want to be on the register, you need to learn English. You need to be able to properly communicate with the customers in case we have to do any returns or exchanges or stuff like that. So I understood everything, but I wasn't able to speak it.
Okay.
And it was like a little bit of, I don't know, I felt like tied up because I wanted to say something and I couldn't. So he said, if you want this key, you need to learn English. So I learned.
Yeah.
3 months later, I went to him and I'm like, listen, I need that key. And he's like, are you sure? So he gave me a test run, and you see, like 1 month later, I was already the head key holder of the whole store.
You're a hard worker. That's awesome.
That's when I had to literally, and this is like the first podcast that I really, really say this like in detail. But I had to teach myself English. Like I didn't know no English. I had to learn by myself. And the way I did it is I learned how to say it, but I also learned how to write it.
Okay.
So, because if you don't know how to spell something, it's like you're going to be able to talk, but not read.
Right.
So I learned how to, read it, write it, and speak it. And of course, I have an accent. But what I have been killing with the years is the pronunciation. try to, pronounce things the best way. But then I also learned that because of the vocal cords are so used to one language,
Right.
it's hard to apply your vocal cords to another language. That's why when you go to other countries, other people have other accents, and it doesn't matter how much English they know, they will always have an accent. So
Right.
I was always bashing myself and belittling myself because of my accent,
Mm.
because people made me feel that way. But then I learned that my accent is actually a virtue, is something that it
Sure.
actually, I think it's like one of like my big deals, like like part of my character.
Okay.
And all I need to do is improve my pronunciation, not my accent.
Okay. No, you sound good to me. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, I feel like assimilation is such a huge topic in political spectrums, like where it's like almost a lot of pushback, like, no, you just need to like accept me instead of like assimilating into American culture. What is your thoughts on, since you have so much experience with trying to assimilate, trying to run the register and speaking the language and learning it yourself? What are your thoughts for like new immigrants moving here and the assimilation process and stuff like that?
I will say, do not generalize people because of their accent. And something that I really struggled a lot with people is that, and that is not being racist, it's just people being ignorant because
Sure.
they're not inside of you. But I will say there's a lot of people, and many of you listening right now will feel guilty, but many people will definitely try to match your accent with your intelligence.
Okay. Okay.
So I remember me, like I've been a nurse for 10 years, and I
Oh, wow.
remember me calling the, let's say, the insurance company to try to get a pre-certification.
Yeah.
And every time I had, this was probably like once a month. So not everybody's like this, but I remember once a month, at least one teller just talking to me and just talking to me slow. Like,
Okay.
you are going to come. I'm like,
Yeah, that's a little intense.
all I used to say is like, listen, you're being rude to me. I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You could be faster, and
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you. Transfer me to somebody else because I don't want to talk to you right now.
Yeah.
So it was really upsetting, annoying. It also annoys us if you hear our accent and you start talking to us in Spanish. Like, don't do that.
Okay. Yeah. 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 No, I
Don't.
feel you on that.
Or they'll be like, oh, you hablo poquito español. Like, no, no.
Yeah.
Don't do that, because you're trying to make us feel like, oh, like, okay, so my English bothers you, like.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I could kind of understand that. That would be really annoying. I also can see like some people that want to kind of be like, hey, I know some of your culture too, and then say that kind of stuff. But I could see it both sides just being like annoying.
Yeah, but at the same time, that this is something that I've been telling a lot of people, and this is something that comes in within what's happening today in America, which is the whole this racism and oppression thing. And I know that's one of the topics that we can cover on this
Yeah.
podcast. And me being a Latina, born in the United States, my parents are Americans. Like,
Yeah.
my parents are Americans. The reason that they are born in Puerto Rico and they speak Spanish, that doesn't mean they're not Americans. The reason that I was born here and taken away from the United States when I was little, imagine if instead of Puerto Rico it would have been China. It would have been I don't know, Russia. I would have been speaking Mandarin or Russian. That doesn't mean I'm not American. It's not my fault. Like, that's why it's not my fault. That's why I always say this phrase, and this is something that I want to put out there all the time. I didn't choose where I was born. I
Right.
didn't choose my parents. I didn't choose my heritage. I didn't choose my skin color.
Right.
But I get to choose who I want to be in this life,
Mm,
how I
yeah.
want to live my life, and
Yep.
who I want to vote for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, it has nothing to do with my skin color, with my heritage. So I'm glad that I'm so rich in culture, that I'm able to sing three different, it's I think that it's a blessing to be so rich in culture that I'm able to sing three different anthems.
Yeah.
That I'm able to, know three different cultures, three
Yeah.
different history, and
Yeah.
everything goes back to the same conqueror, and
Yeah.
it's amazing because every time I look back to that, I just thank God, because I was born into this part of the world where we're all Christians and
Mm-hmm.
we have, good values. And I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't born in a country where women are oppressed and they cannot
Yeah.
vote, they cannot do anything. They,
Yeah.
they get killed for any reason.
Yeah.
So it is a blessing to be an American.
Man, there was like so much there. So I want to go back to your thoughts on just where you grew up, then you moved, and the media will tell you that, like Joe Biden says, that if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And I feel like the media also puts that on Latinos and Latinas.
Yeah,
Where,
if
like,
you
you will vote Democrat, we already assume you're going to, because you're not who you say you are if you don't. So what are your thoughts on that? Because obviously you're wearing a Trump sweatshirt right now for those who can't see you right now. So what are your thoughts? And I love meeting new people who are like thinking differently based on what cultural stereotypes are told who you are. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, definitely we need to just break this whole mentality and
Yeah.
this whole society, conditioner. Um, the Democrats, and not only them, like everybody behind the Democratic Party, they have conditioned the society. And just like this doctor we were having on my show last week, they have just build useful idiots, and that's the way to put it.
Mm.
So sadly, our own news, our own Spanish channels, and all these people, they have helped the Democrats to educate us in different parts of the world. Like, we're talking about all Hispanic countries listen to Telemundo and Univision.
Yeah.
All Hispanic countries will listen to CNN in Spanish. That is powerful. That is crazy.
Yes.
Because we're talking about people listening and believing into what's going on.
Okay.
When in reality, it's not.
Yeah.
I remember when the 9/11 happened, I was in DR. And I learned about the Twin Towers and all these things going on through CNN in Spanish. That's all we had. The thing with the Hispanic culture is that we're very loving and caring of others. So we tend to trust. So, for example, Al Rojo Vivo or any other, Primer Impacto or any other big, news out there, we believe them because they gave facts in a time. There was a time, there was an era, there was a season, however you want to call it, that they were actually sharing facts.
Right.
But we need to understand that society changes.
Yep.
And money talks and power talks.
Yes.
And if I come to you and like, let's say I'm an executive producer and I'm an investor and you are my talent, I expect for you to talk and say and show whatever I want you to show, say, and and share. So that is a crazy part when we see now the media, and then we're like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Well, because they're getting paid, because they need to feed their families, and that's the way they do it. And because they're selfish and they don't care what other people listen to or accept or do not accept, they need to feed their families, and that's their way to feed their families. So it's a selfish, characteristic.
Yeah.
And it's something we cannot avoid because that's part of, us being sinners, selfishness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's sad to see your own people just brainwashing you and condition you to be a useful idiot. Like, but at the same time, look at the difference between the liberal media, how impactful it is with, I don't like to divide, but we have to right now so people can understand.
Right.
So look at the liberal media, how they get to impact and influence white liberals and black liberals, because there is black, white, and Hispanic conservatives. So, but when you have this liberal society, this liberal, all these races that are super liberal, you can tell that they all listen, worship, and trust the media.
Yes. Yeah.
You can see videos of people, just destroying communities, burning communities. You can see how they attack the police.
Yeah.
Like, what happened with the Americans, that the generation that was thankful and united because of the 9/11 events? What happened to the Americans that every time there's a shooting in a school or church, they unite? They're mooring. Everybody is like really mooring together. Like,
yeah.
Where is this Americans?
I don't know. I think a lot of people are scared to come out right now because of the media and because they don't want to be doxxed and they don't want to lose their jobs. I mean, even for me, I work in public school. I know I am not the average. So I'm pretty, so I started this news network. I try to be unbiased because I like commentary, but I get tired of it. I just want to know the facts sometimes in just a short amount of time. That's it. That's the only reason I started this. And I know how much the media just lies, and they make up all these titles and stuff like that, where it's like has nothing to do with what's in the article. And so I spent hours just reading the article, coming up with this short segment. But I just know that there's so many people that are just scared to talk up. And I know I'm always like just one comment away from being fired, or just one parent seeing me and like, I don't want this man teaching my children, I want to say truths, but like conservative ideologies, or just like a different perspective, or just because I like to have both perspectives. Like I want it all.
And that's how I became a Trump supporter.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I put 2 and 2 together. I put everything on perspective. Everything in my life is balance in my perspective balancer. Like I just put everything always in a balance and see what's heavier, you know?
Yeah.
But if we don't use our brains, if we don't think for ourselves, this world will just influence you and continue to influence you until it destroys your life, your family, your children, everything that you know as of right now. When I hear people saying peacefully protest, all I ask is, that means that you have never tested, experienced peace in your life, because that is not peaceful.
No.
If you have never experienced peace in your life, then I will understand why you're saying that is peaceful. Then your life is hell, and I'm so sorry for you. So sorry for you. I mean, come on.
Well,
and it's sad because all these are just children. Children.
Yes.
16 or probably 14 up to 26 years old, people that still don't have a job, people that still don't know what they want in life, people that probably started college and never went to college, they dropped out, or people that are in college and they are still struggling into what their main core is going to be, because they're just still taking basic credits because they don't know what the heck they're going to do with their lives. You know? So it's sad. The new society that we're seeing growing up, and it's like, whoa, like we're like, I'm young. I mean, I'm an 80s baby, and I'm
Me
like,
too.
What is going on with these people? What is going on with these children? And a lot of people say, well, it's children raising children. No, because my grandma had 16 kids and she was 13 when she started having kids. Like the old times were like that. They were getting married at 13, 14, 15, 16. So don't tell me that is because there's a children raising a children. No, it's society's conditioning your household. Society's conditioning your children, and you are letting them. You know, if we go to the biblical perspective of everything, like I don't know your, beliefs and anything like that, so I don't want to go too far.
I was a youth pastor for like 10 years, and I went to Moody Bible Institute. So
awesome. So if we go on a biblical perspective, we can see, the Bible says that our eyes are, the lamp, like the window to the soul.
Right.
So everything we watch, everything we listen to, our eyes and ears are the ways to the soul, are the ways to the heart. So everything we listen to is going to influence our character.
Right.
And that's what we see now with this new society, this new generation.
Right. Right.
Now, if we as parents don't control that, then that's what we're gonna see. So there is a silent majority, and at the same time, the majority, they think they're the majority. The people that are out there shouting and destroying and BLM and all these things, they think they're the majority. So when they think they're the majority, I tell them, listen, the majority could be wrong.
Yeah.
The majority could be wrong.
Yeah.
And it bothers me because I'm like, listen, we are in the most generous country there is right now, the United States of America, the most powerful country there is right now, the most powerful army. And thank God, because, you know, Trump just gave them more tools and stuff because they were struggling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you complaining? You have everything you can in this world. Like right now, besides DACA holders, because DACA holders are not allowed to do certain things, but every American citizen right now, and even legal residents, have so many residents in this country, you know, legal residents and citizens have so many rights right now. They can do whatever they want to do. They can become whoever they want to become.
Yes.
Nothing is stopping them. There's so many programs. There's so many grants. There's so many things that they can do. So many jobs that we don't even think they exist, and they do.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I learned that you can apply for music engineer for the NASA.
What?
Exactly.
For NASA.
You know?
I didn't know they were dropping some tracks.
Yeah, I have a friend that was hired for that.
Oh, what?
And it's like, you know, I'm like, what? A NASA music engineer, you know, sound engineering, because they have to, you know, I don't know.
They're listening to the UFO.
What I'm telling you is there's so many opportunities in the United States of America.
Yes.
And there is a reason why a lot of people want to come into this country.
Yes.
They don't come here because they want to be oppressed. They don't come here because this country is the best in the world and they wanted to turn it into a socialist country and communist country. They come here because they're escaping from their their socialist country. They're coming in here because they're escaping from people that are trying to kill them and rape them. They're coming in here because they need peace, they need safety. Not only because of the money. Yeah. You know, that's separate, because when I go to other countries and I visit, I see how there's people that they have jobs, normal jobs. And the majority of these republics, they have a normal, like everybody starts at 9, ends at 5 type of thing. Yeah. Starts at 4, 8, end up at 4 type of thing. Like everybody has their own schedule, the same schedule. Everybody gets paid on the same day. Like everything's like a routinary robotic life. Yeah. But they have jobs, like normal jobs. Yeah. Now, when you come into the United States, you're so free. You're so free. You can do whatever you want. You get the schedule that you want. If you don't want it, you apply for another job. If you lose your job, you get unemployment. If you get harassed by your employer, you get to sue. If anything happens, you can sue the state. You can sue whoever you want. Like, you got rights. You got the Constitution. You got constitutional rights, state rights, and federal rights. Yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah, you can call the president whatever names you want to, and you're not gonna get killed. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Freedom of speech is huge here. So what are your thoughts on freedom of speech? Because I mean, I'm a huge people go too far sometimes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Wait, so is there a limit? I mean, there's limits on the Constitution when it comes to certain, like on the First Amendment, there are certain limits. It has to be peacefully. Like, that's why these riots are terrorists now. They have become terrorists because the freedom of speech has limits. People think they don't, but they do. But some people, just like the Bible, they decide to read whatever is convenient to them to justify their actions. Yeah. You cannot do that with the Constitution of the United States, and you cannot do that with the Bible. Yeah. You have to read everything and apply it to yourself the right way, not just based on whatever is convenient to me and, to justify my actions. Yes. So. Well, dang. So have you always been conservative, or have you always voted Democrat, then voted Trump for the first time, or are you voting for Trump for the first time? Like, where is your political background and who you are today? Well, Hispanics are conservative by heritage.
Yes.
We are all conservative, but a lot of people don't understand that we are. When you go to a conservative, when you go to any Hispanic, like for example, I go to my mom and I'm like, but why you don't like Trump? Oh, because she listens to all the news and she doesn't speak English. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, sit down. Are you pro-abortion? No, I'm not pro-abortion. Okay.
Mhm.
Are you pro this? Are you against this? Oh, okay. I'm like, you are a Trump supporter without you knowing it. You are a conservative. Yes, I am a conservative. Exactly. The majority of, Hispanic families, they're conservative, they're modest, they're very hard workers, and they hustle. They're capitalists without even knowing it
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
When you see a guy, selling tacos or ice cream on the corner, that's capitalism right there. It's people don't understand certain terms because they need to be breaking down either in English or in Spanish, but they don't understand that they are in fact pro-Trump. Now, when I was in Puerto Rico, my first time to vote, it was Obama season, and my family voted for him because I think the majority voted for him. Even Republicans voted for him because of, his way to speech and blah, blah. He was first Black president.
Yeah.
I don't know. Many emotions played there and he won. Okay, good. First 4 years, a disaster, the worst president ever. And my family was like, oh, heck no, we're not voting for Obama. But some of my family members still voted for him. Now, I voted for him in Puerto Rico for primaries. Okay, let me educate some of y'all. Puerto Ricans are American citizens, okay? Yeah. Some people don't understand that. Second of all, Puerto Ricans get to vote for primaries, for presidential primaries, but do not get to vote for presidential elections.
Yeah.
So we were able to vote for Obama instead of Hillary for primaries twice because she went all over again. And then again, we had Trump. Now, when Trump happened, I was already back because I went back to, after I was here for a little bit, then I went back to Puerto Rico for 2 years, and then I came back. So when I came back, it was 2013. It was almost over for Obama. And I started educating myself, who's going to be next. I remember Alex Jones. I remember listening to Alex Jones. And because of, I'm very into prophecies, like the Bible prophecies. And a lot of the things that he was saying matched my prophecies that I was, studying at the moment. On how everything is happening because the United States is the most powerful country of the world. Right. So of course, we're talking about the most powerful country of the world and Rome. Yeah. So I was putting two and two together and I came up with, Alex Jones, let me start listening to him. And because of him, I learned that Donald Trump was going to run for president.
Oh, wow.
Without even him running. He didn't say anything, but he said, I remember Alex Jones saying, Donald Trump is going to run for president. So I started looking more into Donald Trump because to me, Donald Trump was just like a public figure. And I didn't know much about it because by then I didn't know English. Now that I know English, let me look into him. And I started listening to what he had to offer. And then he finally decided, hey, I'm going to run. And but I was skeptical because once more we could make history again, having the first woman president, whatever.
Right.
But then I was like, but why she haven't won? She was in the White House for so long with her husband, and supposedly she was the one who was governing this country because that's what people said, that she was the one who was actually the president.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I said, you know what? Let me look into both. So what I did, and this is something that I encourage everybody to always do.
Yes.
I follow them both on Facebook because, you know, the media can edit anything. In 2012, I was part of a reality show in Telemundo.
Oh,
and I
awesome.
remember how the producers, used to say, oh, say your saddest story. Oh, you know, say something and cry. And I didn't want to do these things because I don't like people to tell me what to do.
Right.
Like, I don't like people to boss me around. And unless it's a job, that's a different subject. But like, people to tell you like, oh, you need to cry or you need to say a sad story, you know, like, I don't like that because I'm not fake.
Right. I'm the same way. I wouldn't be able to do that.
And then I remember also they trying to like make beefing so you could argue with others and whatever. And I remember them asking you questions and doing this whole thing and then editing and cutting and just posting whatever they wanted to say. So it looked bad. It looked like I was saying something different. So it's like I learned. And then that's one of the reasons I don't like fame. Even though sometimes it's just, you know, you just got to deal with it. Because if you're going to be famous one day, you're going to be famous one day.
Yeah.
But it really bothered me because that's when I learned that the media will just manage and manipulate the narrative the way they want it.
Yes.
So that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to just add them both. So I add them both because the live streaming cannot be cut or edited.
Yeah.
So I started watching both of them talking, different rallies, her on her side and Trump on the other side. And I started listening. And I'm like, wait a second. This doesn't go according to what I believe, what I want as a Christian and as a mother and as a citizen. Like, people need to understand that I'm not questioning your faith. Don't question mine. Don't ask me, because a lot of people say, oh, you know, how come you're a Christian and you're voting for Trump?
Right.
And then I'm like, excuse me, how you are a Christian and you're voting for Hillary? Like, I don't get it. Because she's the one who wants to kill babies and on full term and all these things. Like, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
So, but then I also fall into the same thing that they're doing. Judging people's, you know, faith. Like, I don't want to judge nobody's faith or question nobody's faith.
Right.
But I always ask everybody to not question mine. Like, my Christian values, my conservative thoughts and my conservative life that I live and the way I live and the way I grew up was very strict. It was a very Christian household. I call my dad a Hitler daddy because he was like very up to today he's still very strict. And I thank God for that. Like, I'm blessed to have the father that I had.
That's awesome.
And I put two and two together. And then I remember, like today, when I unfollowed her and I kept listening to Trump and all his rallies, and I started following other accounts and learned more and more. And I voted for him in 2016.
Okay.
And I'm glad that I did. I was blocked, bashed. A lot of people just stopped being my friend. Wow, it was crazy. It was really crazy. And I remember listening to people talking around me and me not being able to say, hey, I'm a Trump supporter.
Right.
Because, you know, and I remember by then I was in Liberty University, and that university is so pro-Trump.
Yes.
And I remember they were bringing Pence to talk and stuff like that. It was a nice time in my life. And then when I saw him winning, it was amazing. It was like, oh my gosh, we won. And because nobody thought he was going to win. Nobody thought.
Yeah. I didn't think he was going to win either.
Like, well, I don't care. I said, well, I don't care if I lose my vote. And I remember people saying, well, you're in New Jersey, your vote didn't count. I'm like, I don't care. It did count for something.
Yeah.
I still voted. I still did it. I mean, I still did it, and I was happy that I did. And I did the primaries on the 7th of this month.
Okay.
We had primaries in New Jersey. We had some good candidates for the New Jersey GOP.
There you go.
I am the new chairwoman of my city, and
awesome.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Because I'm so young, and it's like, oh my gosh, all these things happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And in February, that's when I became, and this is another season of my life, another season of my life.
Yeah.
But in February, I became a, the New Jersey director for the Lexit movement.
Wow.
Which is how we got more like in contact.
Yeah.
And that's where Becky La Trompista was born. I
That's
decided
awesome.
to just come out in public.
Yeah. You come out as a Trump supporter. That's a whole new coming out nowadays.
Publicly, like, hey guys, just. And then after that, I remember in February, more people blocked me, a lot of people, because I'm a Christian singer.
Okay.
So a lot of people were like, oh, you know, you're not worried about your, you know, Christian ministry. You're not worried about your business, because by then my business was open before the Rona happened.
Yeah.
And everybody was just attacking me, like, oh, you know, you better stay off singing. Politics is not for you. You're too beautiful to be a Trump supporter. I'm like, what does beauty have to do with a political view? Like, that doesn't make sense. And I still did it. I didn't back down, and I continue. And, you know, I was blessed enough to be one of the speakers at the MAGA Mixer last week in Houston. I got to meet a lot of good people.
That's awesome.
I met Bryson. I met Derek Gradnigo. I met a lot of good people from Blexit and Latinos for Trump.
Yeah.
The organization.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to have some good time with my Lexit team and Blexit, Texas. It was nice.
So cool. So for people that don't know what Lexit is, I know what it is, but what is Lexit?
Lexit is the Latinos exiting from the Democratic Party.
Yes.
The majority of us were Democrats before, and we, you know, exited them because, you know, they're crazy.
They don't represent your values
at all. Like nothing at all. Like my team, we're all Christians. We have pastors in our team. We have ex-gang members. We have, you know, people that have been to jail and everything. We have constitutionalists. We have biologists. We have web developers. We have graphic designers. I'm the newest board member. So I'm a national board member for the Lexit team. I'm also the creator director for Lexit and the New Jersey director. So if anybody's listening to this, if you're in New Jersey, if you want to help me either with my city or with the GOP in my city, or you want to help me with Lexit, you're more than welcome to contact me.
Do it. I have a few New Jersey listeners, so that's cool. That's awesome. So did Lexit kind of spawn off like Blexit kind of thing with Candace Owens and stuff like that, or was it
Lexit? No, Blexit, it was already there.
Okay.
Jesse Olguin, which is the founder of Lexit.
Okay.
He's an ex-gang member.
Okay.
He's on a wheelchair now. He was literally on the first week of this month at the White House when we experienced the president signing the executive order for the Hispanic Heritage Initiative.
Oh, right.
Our Lexit founder was there right next to Ben Carson and other Trump's officials. It was amazing because Lexit was like literally invited to the White House, and he had been there before, not just that time. And his story have encouraged a lot of people. I would advise you to also bring him into your podcast. It would be amazing. His testimony is just amazing.
That's awesome.
It's just, he's a miracle. He's alive and he's a miracle. And I'm glad that, you know, he's our founder and he founded Lexit. He did it all from Facebook and his phone on his wheelchair. And now we are a big movement. We're all over the United States.
So cool.
And I'm glad, you know, that I'm able to be part of it.
That's so cool. I love your story, and I love meeting people that just think differently than what culture tells you to think. I think it's unfair that the media allows white people to think however they want, but then they subjugate people of different races of like, okay, if you look this way, you have to vote that way, which is totally racism. So I think it's so cool what you guys are doing. I love your message. And I love that you're speaking out and that you're not afraid to be who you are. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but if you could tell my listeners why should people vote for Donald Trump this coming November?
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Oh no. Yeah.
Real quick. I mean,
do it.
Will you vote for somebody that is pro-abortion, pro-socialism, kind of like sugarcoating it with democratic socialism, which doesn't exist.
Right.
This Marxist idea is not real. It's not going to work. It has never worked, and it's not going to work. It's like saying slavery will work this time. No, it won't work this time. It won't.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It's inhuman, and it won't work. Number 3, do you want to wake up today and say, you know what, I'm going to open my business, my own business. I'm going to invest, and I'm going to make this. I'm going to, build my American dream, and then have Biden say, you know what, you're rich now. So I'm going to take what you did, what you have worked so hard, and give it to this poor guy that have never done anything for this country, and he's on food stamps for the last 5 years. You want that? Then vote for Biden. You want all of that? Vote for Biden. You want somebody that is going to be a puppet because he's incapable to manage a country, because he's not good, healthy, in a good health. He's not 100% in there. Then vote for Biden. Vote for him. Then it's on you. It's on you.
Well, you laid it down. I love it. Well, I appreciate it.
I think that's why I'm voting for Trump 2020 now.
Well, there you go. Those are good reasons. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm just gonna